And at number 10, Madonna and Tupac. This relationship was super low-key, but it did happen, and two of the biggest musical legends dated back in their heyday. Madonna and Tupac dated for over a year until the late rapper ended things with a letter written from prison in 1995 that later went public when it went up for auction. In that letter, Tupac admitted he needed to break up with her because he felt by being with a white woman, he was letting down the black community. The letter ended up being sold for more than $170,000. The letter is dated January 15th of 1995 and is addressed to his ex, Madonna, or M as he would call her. In the letter, he wrote, quote, "For you to be seen with a black man wouldn't in any way jeopardize your career. But for me, at least in my previous perception, I felt due to my image, I would be letting down half of the people who made me what I thought I was." And number 9, Kaylee Cuoco and Johnny Galecki. These co-stars' characters were in a relationship during the hit show The Big Bang Theory, but a little known fact is that the actors dated in real life at the same time, but they kept it hidden for the sake of the show. Kyoko revealed that they were together for 2 years, from 2007 to 2009, in an interview with CBS Watch in 2010. She said, quote, "It was a wonderful relationship, but we never spoke a word about it and never went anywhere together. We were so protective of ourselves and the show and didn't want anything to ruin that." However, Cuoco revealed that the secret nature of their relationship is also the reason that it ended, because it took a toll on their bond. She added, quote, "Everyone was always asking and we denied, she revealed, and I'm like, why am I denying this person that I love?" And at number 8, Renee Zellweger and Bradley Cooper. Both of these celebrities have been in high-profile relationships in the past, but for some reason the relationship between them was kept a secret until their split. Back in 2009, they dated after filming Case 39 together. They never publicly confirmed their relationship, but we were all pretty sure it was happening because they were seen being snapped by paparazzi out and about. It ended up being a good thing that they didn't go public though, because not long after the pair announced that they split. In 2011, it was reported that the relationship ended, even though they never even confirmed it in the first place. And at number 7, Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Back in 1996, during the Duval Film Festival, friends introduced Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas to one another, and after that coincidental meeting, the two would later marry in 2000. The pair has a large age gap of 25 years. Even crazier though is that they actually share the same birthday of September 25th. Douglas is 76, while Zeta-Jones is 51, and the pair are still going strong after 20 years of marriage. Douglas and Zeta-Jones have 2 children together. Dylan was born 3 months after the two married in 2000, and another followed 3 years later. So even though the gap is large for this pair, they are very much in love. And at number 6, Cher and Tom Cruise. Another very shocking relationship was between Cher and Tom Cruise. The pair never admitted it while they were together, but Cher revealed the secret to the Daily Mail in 2018. The relationship happened back in the 80s after the pair reconnected at an event. Cher said, quote, "A bunch of people who were dyslexic were invited to the White House. Tom and I are both dyslexic, we didn't go out till way later, but there was definitely a connection there. Back in 1985, he was 23 and she was 38. The pair first met at Madonna and Sean Penn's wedding in Malibu, but it wasn't until their next meeting at the White House when they really connected. She later told Oprah Winfrey that they might have enjoyed a great big romance had their busy schedules not kept them apart." We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Beyonce and Jay-Z. I think people hate this pair because they think that Beyonce can do way better, especially after Jay-Z admitted to cheating on her. Like, you're with Beyonce! She's gorgeous and talented, why would you ever cheat on her? Anyways, the pair seemed to hit a rough patch in 2014 after Beyonce's sister got in a fight with Jay-Z and punched him in an elevator after the Met Ball. The footage was soon leaked and people were like, ooh, what did Jay-Z do? Later it was revealed that the fight was because of Jay-Z's affair with Rachel Roy. People were like, Beyonce doesn't deserve this, no one cheats on our queen, and that's why people don't like them together. And at number 4, Jamie Foxx and Katie Holmes. After Katie Holmes' strained relationship with Tom Cruise ended, she got into a relationship with Jamie Foxx that wasn't made public until several years later. It's been reported that the couple first got together since at least 2013, but didn't go public until 2017 after being together for 4 years. Many fans felt the secrecy was not just planned by the couple, it was actually forced by Tom Cruise. After Tom and Katie's divorce, sources revealed that one stipulation of their divorce settlement was that Katie was not allowed to publicly date anyone for at least 5 years after. That rumor has never been proven, but since the announcement, Jamie and Katie had been happily showing off their PDA. Maybe that's because they were silenced for so long. The pair split in 2019, a source said, quote, "Jamie was disappointed, though we understood she needed more of a commitment." And at number 3, Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was married to Demi Moore from 1987 to 2000, but after their split, he found love again with Emma Hemming in 2008. They started dating and got married in 2009 when Willis was 54 and Hemming was 32. Their age difference was very scandalous at the time, along with how much Hemming looked like a younger version of Demi Moore. Moore actually attended their wedding. The Daily Mail said at the time that Hemming, quote, "looks very much like Willis's first wife Demi Moore, just 16 years younger," adding that Hemming was only a few years older than Demi Moore's husband at that time, Ashton Kutcher. There was also a considerable 16-year age gap between that pair. And at number 2, Scarlett Johansson and Sean Penn. After Scarlett had a very public divorce from Ryan Reynolds, she decided to leave her relationships out of the spotlight for good. That's why her romance with Sean Penn was kept under wraps. Given how famous she is, it's hard to believe that she managed to keep an entire relationship with another A-list actor a secret. But she did just that when she dated Sean Penn in 2011. According to Johansson, they, quote, "spent time together for about 6 months. I guess that's her way of saying it was a pretty casual affair." She added in a 2012 interview with Vogue, quote, "I never put a title on it really, but we were seeing each other." And even though it didn't last, the pair still remained friends. And finally, number 1, Cole Sprouse and Lily Reinhart. These two played love interests in the hit show Riverdale, and like we see often with celebrity relationships, this pair's acting led into real life, and we assume that they started dating. Although they never made it official, it was obvious to anyone who was paying attention. It's rumored that they started dating sometime in 2017. The pair got in tons of drama too, and apparently were very on and off. One time, Cole was even accused of cheating on Lily with model Kaya Gerber. Then in 2020, Cole officially announced their split on Instagram, writing in a long caption, quote, "Lily and I initially separated in January of this year, deciding to more permanently split in March. And what an incredible experience I had. I'll always feel lucky and cherished that I had the chance to fall in love. I wish her nothing but the utmost love and happiness moving forward. All I'll say about it is anything else you hear doesn't matter." And at number 10, the real reason her residency is cancelled. Adele announced on her Instagram last Thursday that her residency at Caesar's Palace was going to be delayed indefinitely. She announced the cancellation less than a day before her first performance was scheduled. She cried on Instagram while she said that the show was not ready, blaming rising cases and other issues with her crew as the reason for the delay. However, the truth has now come out. It's been exposed that problems in her relationship with Rich Paul are the real reason she is not performing. A source said, quote, "There's trouble in paradise, that's why she can't perform." This comes days after insiders exposed that she'd been crying through her rehearsals and was constantly on the phone with Paul while she was supposed to be rehearsing. Sources said, quote, "Adele's been crying and couldn't get through a single full rehearsal for the past month, just constantly on the phone with Rich, loudly shouting and sobbing. As of now, it seems that the entire residency might be off because Keith Urban has now taken over a portion of her tour dates." And at number 9, a secret relationship. Prior to her album 30 being released, Adele was very open about the fact that the album would be talking about her divorce. Adele had been with her ex, Simon Konecki, for years before getting married and having a child together, but shortly after they tied the knot, they got a divorce. Now the singer is dating Rich Paul, but a lot of people don't know that Adele had a secret relationship before she started publicly dating Paul. The songs All Night Parking and Woman Like Me are both about this secret relationship. She described that the relationship was long distance and was never going to work out, but it was a, quote, "great learning curve and nice to feel loved." In Woman Like Me, the song paints Adele's ex as lazy, complacent, and incapable of appreciating her value. When describing this relationship, she said, quote, "There was someone I have loved, not been in love with, but been so fond of and have been for years, but I was unable to pretend that I wasn't in my own storm. I couldn't give myself properly. I couldn't be consistent, neither could he. And quote, I associate him with the breakdown of my marriage. So therefore, he's a part of my storm." And at number 8, family issues. Adele is very private about her personal life, and that includes her relationship with her family. Specifically, Adele and her father have always had a strained relationship. In 2011, her father, who she had very little contact with, claimed the singer struggled to find love because she, quote, "had abandonment issues." Mark left their family when Adele was only 8, and part of the reason was due to his addiction to alcohol. Then in 2017, Adele confirmed a tense relationship during her acceptance speech for Record of the Year at the Grammys, saying to her manager manager, quote, "I love you like you're my dad. I love you so much. I don't love my dad, that's the thing." Adele's father passed away from cancer last year, and it's been reported that in his final months, the relationship was not able to be mended. And at number 7, Jackie Cooper. Stories like this are so horrible, I truly hope this is still not happening today. Actor Jackie Cooper shared a terrible memory of when he was working on set. While he was filming the movie Skippy, Cooper was not able to make himself cry. So the director, who happened to be his uncle, threatened to kill his dog if he didn't cry. Norman Turog, the uncle and director, left lasting trauma on Cooper. In his autobiography, Cooper said about the situation, quote, "I began sobbing so hysterically that it was almost too much for the scene. Turog had to quiet me down by saying perhaps my dog had survived the shot, that if I hurried and calmed down a little and did the scene the way he wanted, we would go see if my dog was still alive." Cooper ended up earning the nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role for his performance in 1931. He was just 9 years old, and he's still the youngest nominee ever for the award. And at number 6, secret Twitter account. Adele has been open about the fact that she does not use her official social media accounts, and her team has actually taken her passwords away from her because they don't trust what she posts. Because of this, she has multiple secret social media accounts that she uses instead. Specifically, she created her own secret Twitter account so she could share her true thoughts on things secretly. Speaking during a gig in Brisbane, Australia, she said, quote, "I was looking on Twitter last night. They don't know I have a secret account. Well, obviously they do now because I said that. By the way, I mean my management. I'm not allowed to access my own Twitter because I'm quite mouthy and I say the wrong thing a lot of the time. So they took that privilege away from me." She got the rights to her Instagram back in 2020, but they were quickly taken away once again after Adele posted the controversial photo of herself attending the Notting Hill Carnival in August of 2020 wearing Bantu knots. Halfway number 5, the family's Hollywood team made all the decisions. Although we are putting most of the blame on the conservatorship on Britney's father, Jamie, which should be the case, we need to discuss the role that Hollywood executives had in it too. These executives also made a lot of family decisions during Jamie Lynn's unexpected teen pregnancy. This is the reason that Britney's made a point to talk about the bad job done by her previous lawyers, along with the manipulation by Lou Taylor, who was Britney's business manager at the time of her conservatorship. It is widely believed that Taylor was the real architect of the conservatorship and gave Jamie the tools he needed to control Britney's life. Jamie Lynn herself even questioned who made a lot of the decisions during her time pregnant. Jamie Lynn also stated that the media has been twisting a lot of the quotes that the sisters have said, and the media are the ones putting the wedge between the whole family. And at number 4, she's a diva. One thing I'm sure Adele does not want us to know is that other celebrities think she's a huge diva. Bruno Mars specifically. Singer and producer Bruno Mars had some eyebrow-raising things to say about Adele after they collaborated on her hit song, All I Ask. He of course sang her praises for her amazing talent, but he also made sure to include that she can be a bit of a diva. He said in the interview, quote, "She's a superstar. She walks into the studio, she's got all this attitude. She's a diva. She's like, I don't want to do this, I don't like that." And then as soon as we hit a couple chords that she liked, we started rolling, and that's where we got that song from. But of course, he praised how talented she is, saying that there was a moment where she was in the booth singing when the water started to vibrate. And of course, he would love to work with her again. He said he's just waiting for her to call on him again. It's unclear if he meant that she was a diva in an endearing way, or if he meant to throw some shade. And at number 3, Jack Nicholson's sister was his mother. This one isn't really related to Hollywood, more so a secret that a Hollywood actor kept for a number of years. Jack Nicholson kept a huge secret from the public almost his entire life, mostly because he didn't know the truth until he was an adult. His entire life, Jack was raised with a sister named June, who was 17 years older than him. But when his parents died, Jack's older sister revealed that Jack was actually her child, and her parents raised him as their own to hide the stigma from a young pregnancy. And Jack's parents were actually his grandparents the whole time. And at number 10, lied about Matt Doran interview. We're not sure if Adele or the media is to blame for this one, but reporter Matt Doran got roasted by Adele fans after it was reported that she stormed out of their interview because Doran did not listen to her album beforehand. Australia's Daily Telegraph revealed that Channel 7's Matt Doran came to London specifically for this 20 to 30 minute interview in an over $600,000 deal. Reportedly halfway through the interview, Adele noticed that he was struggling to express an opinion of his own. Then she flat out asked if he listened to her album. When he said no, she walked off and ended the interview early. Sony later refused to allow footage of the interview to be used with Doran, and he was suspended for 2 weeks. This embarrassing blunder then went viral, with Adele fans roasting Doran online for days. Doran did admit that he did not listen to the album beforehand, but said she did not storm out as it's been reported, adding, quote, "To suggest that the interview was disrespectful or that Adele walked out is incorrect, and they actually went over time and had a great conversation." And finally, number 1, Bantu knots scandal. Probably the worst scandal that Adele has ever been in was her scandal surrounding her Bantu knots. In the UK, they celebrate something called the Notting Hill Carnival, where people will share their pride about being a British person with Caribbean descent. And instead of celebrating the occasion how we would have expected, Adele shocked the world when she showed up wearing a Jamaican flag-printed bikini and Bantu knots in her hair, a style worn traditionally by black women in the region. People immediately called it disrespectful and cultural appropriation. After waves of backlash, she told British Vogue, quote, "I didn't read the effing room." And in hindsight, she completely understands why the backlash occurred. Following the scandal, she says she learned that Bantu knots aren't just a hairstyle, and they serve a functional and cosmetic purpose for certain hair types. She continued, quote, "I was wearing a hairstyle that is actually to protect Afro hair. It ruined mine, obviously."
Starting off this countdown, we have Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. This celebrity couple met on set of That 70s Show. They were a couple on screen and eventually off screen as well. In fact, Mila said that her first real kiss was with Ashton Kutcher. And now they're happily married with 2 kids, Wyatt and Dimitri. But I'm sure you have heard about the controversy recently involving them and their kids. While appearing on an episode of Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast, the topic somehow got onto bathing, and they revealed that they weren't too concerned on bathing their kids. Mila said, and I quote, "I wasn't that parent that bathed my newborns." Kutcher continued on saying, and I quote, "If you can see the dirt on them, clean them. Otherwise, there's no point." This caused an uproar, and people started hating on the couple for not taking care of their kids properly. I personally love the two. It's cute how they went from dating in the show to dating in real life to then getting married. And honestly, they are great people and parents from what I can see. Moving on at number 9, we have Katy Perry and Russell Brand. This relationship had toxic written all over it. So the pair first met at the MTV Video Music Awards in 2008. After 3 months of dating, Brand proposed to Katy while vacationing in India. But this relationship had a number of problems. Apparently, they would get into fights about everything, from her partying to when they were going to have children to his stand-up jokes. You get it. Not only that, but apparently Brand was often jealous of Perry's success and felt like he was living in her shadow. In Katy Perry's Part of Me documentary, it showed her curled up and crying in her dressing room on a number of occasions after having fights with Brand. Katy also called him controlling. In the end, Brand broke it off with her through a text message and said that his relationship with Katy was boring and compared it to being on a diet of white rice. That's rude. So people were open to the relationship at first, but as months passed, they were not here for it at all. They didn't like how they got married so fast and knew he didn't treat her the best. Moving on to number 8, we have Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Sam Taylor-Johnson. Now the reason why this couple received so much hate is because of their age difference. So the pair met on set of the film Nowhere Boy in 2008. Aaron played the lead and Sam was the director. A year later, the two were engaged. But Aaron was 18 at the time that they met and Sam was 42. With a 24-year age gap, fans were thinking the worst about Sam and her intentions with Aaron. Years later, the couple are still going strong. In fact, just recently they both got tattoos on the left side of their chest with each other's name on it. So, suck it haters, sorry, but this pair is here to stay.
In at number 7, Helen Mirren and Liam Neeson. This is another celebrity couple that is not only a bit shocking, but it was kept a secret while the pair were together. The pair first met while filming the movie Excalibur in the early 80s, and you may be surprised to hear that they spent almost 5 years together. Thankfully, the pair ended things amicably and have said only kind things about each other since the split. Mirren spoke about the relationship on the Grant Norton Show in 2018. She said, quote, "We didn't date. We lived together for 4 years. We were a serious item for a while. Lucky me."
Moving on at number 6, we have Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra. Another very attractive couple, but they have received a lot of hate. The pair first started talking in 2016 after Nick slid into her Twitter DMs. How romantic. But it took 2 years before the two made it official in May of 2018 after confirming that they were dating. After just 2 months of dating, yes, 2 months, Nick proposed. By December of that year, they were married. No one was expecting that. It all happened way too fast. In fact, some people believe that they aren't even a real couple. It's all just for show. They also have received hate for their age gap. Priyanka is 36 and Nick is 26. Again, love is love despite age, but whatever. Not only that, people think they married each other just to boost their brands. But what do you think about the relationship? Are you here for it or not?
Halfway at number 5, Florence Pugh and Zach Braff. Florence Pugh has been very vocal about her disdain for people that judge her for her age gap relationship with actor Zach Braff. Florence is 25 and Zach is 46. When asked about their gap, she said, quote, "I have the right to hang out and be with and go out with anyone I want to. I've always found this part of what people do really bizarre. I'm an actor because I like acting and I don't mind people watching my stuff, but people have no right to educate me on my private life." Continuing, quote, "I'm 24 and I can't choose who I love. There's a reason why I'm not with someone my age. It hasn't worked. So who are you trying to match me up with?" Florence also addressed this topic after she received hate for wishing her boyfriend a happy birthday on her Instagram, saying that she was forced to turn off the comments after she got tons of hate.
Moving on to number 4, we have Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber. Okay, here we go, folks. Hardcore Jelena superfans were outraged when Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin got together. For them, Hailey was getting in the way of Justin and Selena getting back together. They just refused to accept that they both have moved on. Apart from the Jelena shippers, others aren't too fond on how Justin treats Hailey. In April of 2021, Justin and Hailey were caught by the paparazzi going to a cafe. When they arrived, Justin gets out of the car and then slams the door in Hailey's face. Awkward. Another time, the pair were on Instagram Live together, and he told Hailey to back off and stop touching him after she gave him a hug. So people were getting snappy, saying the two are not a good pair for each other, that he needs to treat Hailey better.
And at number 3, Jennifer Grey and Matthew Broderick. These two starred as brother and sister in the hit movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They portrayed their hatred for each other so well, I was shocked to hear that the pair actually dated back in the day. The pair started dating after making the hit movie, but kept their relationship low-key because they thought people might think it was strange. However, their relationship came to public attention after the couple was involved in a fatal car crash while vacationing together in Ireland in 1987. Sadly, both passengers in the other car passed away as a result of the crash. Broderick was found to be at fault for the accident, and Grey suffered minor physical injuries. She later said she also struggled for years to recover emotionally from the incident. The trauma from that accident led to their split.
In our second spot, we have Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell. Honestly, my mom and dad. They're both talented actors and they're hilarious. But unfortunately, the pair has received their fair share of hate. First off, the two are very open about their relationship. In September of 2020, the two shared a story and photo on Instagram that had a lot of people shocked. It shows him and Belle in a car and she's bent over a bottle. Turns out, she was actually peeing in this bottle. Which, I mean, for a girl to do, that's hella impressive. He captioned the photo on Instagram and I quote, "The most important part of this photo isn't that my bride at Kristen Annie Bell is peeing in the car. It's that the car is 36 hours old. So much disrespect that I almost have to respect it." People were like, okay, why would they tell us this? TMI. Bell went on to explain that she doesn't F with public restrooms during a pandemic. Then we have the beer controversy. Dax was struggling with his addiction on and off. So he doesn't drink beer, but he does enjoy a good old non-alcoholic beer. Apparently, they let their daughters drink it too. I know it's non-alcoholic, but their kids are 6 and 8, and it doesn't seem like the most appropriate thing for them to be drinking. So people got mad at them for that as well. And of course, they also admitted that they don't regularly bathe their kids as well. I mean, I love them together, screw the haters. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. They are a good looking couple, not gonna lie. But their behavior at the VMAs on September 12th was just downright cringy. It all started during Megan's interview with Entertainment Tonight. She was talking about Machine Gun Kelly and how he helped pick out her outfit. She said, he was like, "You're gonna be naked tonight." And I was like, "Whatever you say." She then continued on, calling him daddy, and then said, "Whatever daddy says." That's not all though. The interviewer asked her if the two would be collaborating in Machine Gun Kelly's future music videos. And she said, and I quote, "He's not allowed to have other hoes in his music videos. It's the queen or nothing." Alright then. Then of course the two were all over each other during the event, touching and kissing each other, you name it. Another cringy moment for the pair was when Megan posted a photo of herself on Instagram from their Airbnb the two were staying at. The caption was, "When I tell you that the table at this Airbnb saw some things." Machine Gun Kelly replied with, "I'm glad that's not our table." So we all know what they did on that table, okay? But come on, we don't need to know about it.
And at number 10, Britney bribed her parents' divorce. One of the most shocking revelations from Jamie Lynn's book and interviews was the fact that her parents never had the perfect marriage and their father Jamie struggled with alcohol issues while they were young. This caused his behavior to be unpredictable when they were growing up, and it put a huge strain on their children. Because of the toxic relationship, Britney told her mother she would buy her a house if she divorced Jamie, her father. Her mother did this, got the house and the divorce, and then her father basically lived at the house anyway. Jamie Lynn says their dad was there the first night that the women moved into the new house. Jamie Lynn didn't know how to act. She was so young, she was knowing her sister's wishes, but seeing her mother staying with this man, she was angry, upset, and didn't know which side to take. And at number 9, barefoot in a gas station bathroom. In 2004, Britney made the strange decision to go barefoot into a sketchy bathroom, and the media questioned her cleanliness ever since that incident. While at a gas station in Ventura, California, Britney needed to use the bathroom and decided to just use one at the gas station. Her fiancé Kevin Federline was waiting in the car for her when paparazzi snapped her walking into the unisex bathroom with bare feet. Yup, that's right. Britney decided to use a unisex gas station bathroom with no shoes on. I feel like it would honestly be hard to find any celebrity that would be okay with using a gas station bathroom in general. After that, the media exploded questioning her hygiene, and I'm sure she regrets how much media attention that small moment got. But at the end of the day, if she feels fine going barefoot, who are we to judge? And at number 8, Jamie Lynn's terrifying experience. In her new book, Jamie Lynn describes a terrifying event with her sister that sheds light on the struggles that Britney was facing at that time. She wrote, quote, "One time she said to me, 'Baby, I'm scared,' and took a large knife from the kitchen, pulled me along to my room, and she locked us both inside. She put the weapon in the bedside table drawer and simply repeated, 'I'm scared.' She needed me to sleep beside her." Jamie Lynn describes how scared she was during that incident and claims she experienced panic attacks after that. Britney responded to the shocking allegations on Twitter, denying that the event ever happened. Britney wrote, quote, "I've never been around you with a knife, or would I ever think to do such." Neither parent has made a statement about which sister is telling the truth.
And at number 7, hides from fans. Since Adele has been able to sell out sports stadiums full of adoring fans, the logistics of how she is getting around those stadiums without being noticed is a bit tricky. But her crew came up with a unique way to get her around that had to be kept secret from fans. This method is to hide Adele in one of those black boxes that the crews usually move cargo around the stadium. So she gets wheeled through all her fans while hiding in one of those boxes. And the fans have no idea they are just steps away from the woman that they paid to come see. One downside is that several minutes inside this plastic container leaves her dripping with sweat, something she addressed early in her performance at the ANZ Stadium in Sydney, with her joking, quote, "How I get to the stage makes me so sweaty, I'm drenched." Then at the end of the night, she told fans how she got around.
And at number 6, driving with infant on lap. In 2006, there was another incident with Britney and her new baby that actually caused the police to show up at her home to check on them. Paparazzi snapped Britney at a Malibu Starbucks driving out of the parking lot with her baby, Sean Preston, in her lap. This is not only illegal but very scary, as infants must ride in car seats to be as safe as possible on the road. When asked later about the incident, she blamed aggressive paparazzi. The paparazzi made her pull out quickly because she felt threatened. But the police did not care about this explanation, and the LA County Sheriff's Department visited Spears' home to talk about the incident at the request of county child welfare authorities. The paparazzi also clapped back at the claims and said they were not threatening her in any way. The photo agency said, quote, "These pictures were taken in a very peaceful context in which photographers exhibited no aggressive behavior."
Minor treatments. Halfway number 5, closeted LGBT+ actors. To continue along the lines of morality clauses, another use of those clauses were to closet LGBT+ actors, even forcing some of them into sham marriages just to keep up appearances. This part of the clause revolved around not, quote, "forfeiting the respect of the public." If the actor breached this part of the contract and had a relationship that was not approved, they would risk losing their entire salary for the role. Also, if the actor was outed, that would mean the end of their career either way. Gay actor Rock Hudson's struggle with his identity was revealed in the biography All That Heaven Allows. In that book, it was exposed that a magazine planned to out him back in the day. At that time, Hudson's agent was the only person who knew the truth and proposed that he get married to squash the story. Hudson immediately married Phyllis Gates, but they divorced a couple years later. The secret stayed with him until days before he passed away.
And at number 4, almost dropped her son. This was another incident back in 2006 involving her newborn son. Only a week after the incident where she was caught driving with the baby on her lap, she tripped while walking in Manhattan and almost dropped her son, Sean Preston. She was leaving the Ritz-Carlton holding a drink in her right hand and Sean in her left as she maneuvered through the crowd of onlookers. Britney moved through the crowd and then she suddenly tripped. The baby's head then went backward as the hat flew off his head. Britney regained her balance and the baby seemed okay thanks to a quick reaction from the bodyguard. To make matters worse, it didn't look like she spilled a drop of the drink that she was holding in her other hand. It was reported that days later she had a breakdown over the incident. Since two of these similar incidents with her son happened so closely together, her parenting skills were further scrutinized by the public.
And at number 3, won't apologize for weight loss. Since Adele has had a dramatic weight loss after her divorce, it's been a heated topic of debate amongst her fans. Plenty of fans are happy for her, but many felt that she left them behind and is not actually body positive, or she wouldn't have felt the need to lose weight. Adele has admitted that she feels bad about her radical weight loss, but said that while some fans feel abandoned by her, it's not her job to validate how people feel about their bodies. Since her divorce, she's dropped 7 stone, saying fitness helped with her anxiety after her divorce. Even though fans are upset with her, she said, quote, "I'm not shocked or even fazed by it because my body's been objectified my entire career. I'm either too big or too small. I'm either hot or I'm not. So for now, she's still focusing on herself, not about what people think of her." She continued, quote, "I was body positive then and I'm body positive now. It's not my job to validate how people feel about their bodies."
In at number 2, screaming at Sam Lufty. Sam Lufty is one of the most controversial people in the world of Britney Spears, and her entire family blames Sam for her eventual downfall in 2007. In 2008, the pair got in a screaming match over Britney's boyfriend at the time, paparazzo Adnan Ghalib, and this was one of many of their public fights back then. Apparently, Britney and Sam got in a huge fight and Britney refused to go into his house, so she called her boyfriend, Adnan Ghalib, to come get her at Sam's house. He came right over, but when he got there, Sam would not let him get Britney. The guards were under strict orders from Sam not to let him in. He tried calling each of her 6 cell phones and the house phone, but she did not answer. Years later, Britney would get restraining orders from both Sam Lufty and Adnan Ghalib. And finally, number 1, her career was almost threatened. Back in the 90s when Britney was becoming a star, there was a man in the shadows of all the most famous boy bands who ended up scamming all of them. The man was named Lou Pearlman, and he created both the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. He wanted Spears to join a girl group that he had been working on, but she was more set on being a solo artist at the time. Thankfully, she didn't want to be in a girl group, or she would have been working with Pearlman when the members of the boy bands realized that they were being scammed. He was later sued for fraud and misrepresentation by most of the pop acts that he worked with, on top of being behind one of the largest Ponzi schemes in history, and the members of the boy bands only received a fraction of the money that he owed them. And at number 10, Scott Disick and Amelia Hamlin. Following his breakup from Sophia Richie, Scott Disick has a new girlfriend, who is even younger than his last one. The 37-year-old Keeping Up with the Kardashians star revealed a few months ago that he was officially dating 19-year-old Amelia Hamlin, daughter of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Lisa Rinna. A source said about their relationship, quote, "He's been telling friends how much she means to him and how into her that he is." And when asked about the 18-year age gap, apparently the couple doesn't feel the age difference. The source added, quote, "She grew up in the industry and knows how all this works. It's a different type of maturity, and they don't really feel the age difference." And I'm happy for them, but I do think it's odd that he dated 2 people when they were 19 years old back to back. And at number 9, Woody Allen and Soon-Yi. So this couple does not only have a large age gap, they also have a very controversial start. Woody Allen started seeing Mia Farrow in 1980, and Farrow had 14 children, including adopted daughter Soon-Yi, who would later marry Allen. In 1992, after 12 years of being together, Farrow found nude photos of Soon-Yi, who was 21 at the time, in Allen's house. When confronted by Farrow, Allen, then 57, said that he had slept with Soon-Yi for the first time 2 weeks before. In August of 1992, Allen released a statement that he was in love with Soon-Yi, and then later in 1997 they got married and have been together since. So there's a lot of weirdness with this one, not just the 35-year age gap. And at number 8, Hugh Hefner. The Playboy mogul was known for his relationships with young women that were decades younger than him. He famously dated 3 women at the same time during the show Girls Next Door, when he dated Holly Madison, Kendra Wilkinson, and Bridget Marquardt at the same time. Hefner married a total of 3 times, and a crazy fact was that his first divorce happened 27 years before his 3rd wife was even born. In 2012, Hefner married his last wife, Crystal Harris. She was 26 at the time, which was 60 years younger than the 86-year-old Hefner. And when they were together, Crystal was decades younger than Hefner's children with his first wife, as many of Hef's kids were in their 60s, while Crystal was in her 30s.
In our 7th spot, we have Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Talk about a controversial relationship. This relationship had drama written all over it. So apparently the two first got together in 2012, while Kim was still in the middle of getting her divorce with Chris Humphries all figured out. Then in December of 2012, Kim revealed that she was pregnant and the two were expecting their first child together. Fast forward to now. The pair now has 4 children together and their marriage is rocky. According to the Keeping Up with the Kardashians show, the pair have been fighting for a while. From fights over Kim refusing to give Kanye a band-aid, to Kanye feeling neglected, to him not liking her Met Gala dress, saying it's far too revealing, you name it. They would fight several times a day, but the final straw apparently was a couple months ago when Kanye started acting more erratic. He accused Kim and Chris on Twitter and exposed that him and Kim were contemplating having an abortion when she was pregnant with North West. Honestly, people were concerned about the relationship and their clashing egos from the start. And rumor has it that Kim was preparing the divorce papers since 2018.
And at number 6, David Foster and Katharine McPhee. David Foster first met his wife Katharine McPhee during season 5 of the show American Idol, where he was a mentor. According to Harper's Bazaar, the two did not confirm their relationship until their engagement in 2018, which was not long after his divorce from model Yolanda Hadid. So this is another one with a really big age gap of 34 years, with David being 71 and Katharine being 37. Something that probably adds a layer of awkwardness onto this one though is the fact that Katharine is actually older than a few of David's daughters with his first wife. Foster said about their age difference, quote, "Look, we have haters on social media and there's not a person around that's not going to make some comment about the age difference. But there are so many things that can bring a marriage down, and one of them is age difference, but that's our only problem." Halfway number 5, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Gosling. Before Ryan Gosling was with Eva Mendes, he and Sandra Bullock dated for over a year if you can believe it. And the relationship was pretty secretive for two A-list stars. In 2002, the pair dated for a little over a year after filming by Numbers together. They never confirmed their relationship while it was happening, but in 2011 Gosling told The Times that Bullock was one of his quote greatest girlfriends ever. Bullock also sung his praises and said he helped her become a more laid-back person, she said in one interview. And at number 4, Celine Dion and Renee Angel. The music legend actually got married to someone that she had known since she was only 12. Celine's manager, Renee Angel, has managed her since she started her career at the age of 12. However, years later when Dion was 18, her feelings started to change and they started dating. The pair ended up getting married when Celine was 26 and he was 52. And even though many people had doubts about their relationship, even Celine's family, they had a long and happy marriage. They wed in 1994, had children together, and stayed together until Angel passed away from cancer at age 73 in 2016.
In our third spot today, we have Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. I think most of the hate that this couple receives is from die-hard Mendes fans that are mad that he's taken because they thought that they had a shot with him. Anyways, the pair were first photographed together at the 2015 VMAs. They then met again the same year at the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas. And that's when she went into his dressing room to say hi and talk. The cuties made it official in I believe 2019, and they are apparently still going strong. But the pair did receive some backlash in February of 2021 when Mendes posted a picture of Camila on Instagram for Valentine's Day. In the photo, he was kissing her foot, and the comments on this photo were harsh. They were calling him disgusting and their relationship cringy. Yikes.
And at number 2, Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid got married to PhD student Laura Savoy in October of 2019. The couple has a 39-year age gap. When talking about their age gap, Quaid said that he is not fazed, saying about the relationship, quote, "I didn't go out looking for an age gap or someone really younger than me. I met her at a business event and then the relationship developed." However, it does seem to be a trend with Quaid because his last partner was 32 years younger than him. And finally at number 1, Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie and his girlfriend set the internet ablaze when people started to realize how large of an age gap that they had. Lionel Richie and girlfriend Lisa Prigge have a 40-year age gap between them, with him being 71 while his girlfriend is 31. Online, the reaction was a mix of support and hate towards the couple. One user wrote, quote, "Lionel Richie with his new bae, he's 71 and she's 30, love wins." However, some other people pointed out that he is old enough to be her grandfather, and pointing out how when he was 40, she was just born. The pair have been dating since 2014, and honestly I was shocked to hear that Lionel Richie is 71. He looks phenomenal. I thought he was in his 50s from seeing him on American Idol.
And at number 10, Paris Hilton's boarding school. In 2020, Paris Hilton opened up about her traumatic childhood after keeping it a secret for most of her life. In her documentary, This Is Paris, Hilton alleged that she'd been subjected to toxic and harmful treatment while attending Provo Canyon School in Utah, which was a boarding school for troubled teens. Hilton revealed that while she was there, she would be isolated in solitary confinement for no reason and be forced to take pills that made her feel numb. Paris and her entire family kept this a secret for her entire time that Paris was a socialite and an A-list star. Along with her difficult childhood, Paris also exposed that her voice was faked, and she made it sound higher to play into the dumb blonde stereotype. And at number 9, Joan Crawford. Back in old Hollywood, they didn't have the beauty products that we have today, and actors were forced to use alternative measures to look their best on camera. Actress Joan Crawford took this to the extreme and admitted to soaking her eyes in boric acid every week to make them, quote, sparkle on camera. She exposed this years later in her autobiography called My Way of Life. When talking about this beauty regimen, Crawford said once a week she'd steam her face, apply a mask, and soak her eyes in boric acid, casually instructing, quote, while the mask is working, place pads soaked in witch hazel and boric acid over your eyelids and put on your favorite music. Obviously, this was an extremely bad idea that could have made her go blind, but she risked it all just to look better. And at number 8, the black box. We are just now scratching the surface of the horrific things that child actors had to endure in the days of old Hollywood. Sadly, one of the punishments adults on set would use when a child actor misbehaved was putting them in a thing called a black box. This was a closed-in box where the actor was forced to sit on an actual block of ice as punishment. Shirley Temple spoke of this box in her autobiography and called it an exploitation of her childish innocence. In her book, she said that if any child on the set of Baby Burlesque misbehaved, they were locked in a windowless sound booth dubbed the punishment box, where they'd be forced to sit on a block of ice. Temple was sent to the box several times in her tenure as a child star. Temple added, quote, far as I can tell, the black box did no lasting damage on my psyche. Its lesson of life, however, was profound and unforgettable. Time is money. Wasted time means wasted money means trouble.
And at number 7, Jason Alexander wedding. One of Britney's most controversial moments was when she decided to get married to her childhood friend in Vegas, clearly an impulsive move. Her sister Jamie Lynn gave more details surrounding this event in her book, and Jamie Lynn said she could sense that something was wrong when Britney came home for the holidays. Jamie Lynn describes Britney coming home for the holidays and acting very strange. Britney allegedly met up with Alexander on Christmas Eve before she took the women in the family on a tropical vacation. She wrote, quote, immediately I noticed that Britney was being secretive and keeping her distance. She wanted to be anywhere but with us. I was particularly hurt by her shunning. After the family got back from the trip, Britney flew to Vegas with friends, and Jamie Lynn knew something bad was going to happen. Jamie Lynn even remembers telling Britney not to get married. Then Britney just rolled her eyes and told her that she wouldn't. But as we know, just hours later, Britney would in fact marry him. Jamie Lynn admitted she was embarrassed by the whole fiasco, though to keep up appearances she pretended at the time it was blown out of proportion. She added, at that point, the chaos of my sister's life was just beginning.
And at number 6, morality clauses. Back in the day, the studios basically owned the actors that they signed, and they made them sign their life away. Once they became an actor for a major studio, the actor totally belonged to them and was not able to make major life decisions without consulting executives. Many of these clauses forced female actors to stay unmarried so they were more marketable to men. Others even forced women to terminate their pregnancies so they would not waste any time that could be spent filming. The studios claimed that these clauses were to, quote, prevent stars from destroying their value through scandal. Stars like Lana Turner, Judy Garland, and Jeanette MacDonald were all held to these clauses, and they would disguise the hospital visits and claim they were for ear infections or other. Halfway number 5, Taylor Swift feud. I'm sure Adele does not want us to know that she has allegedly feuded with Taylor Swift. This is a feud we're not sure is real or not, but it seems there's been some shade thrown between these two singers for years now. After Adele beat out Taylor for a Golden Globe in 2013, Adele made a bit of a shady dig when Adele jokingly said that she is a squad, but they aren't models, clearly taking a dig at Taylor's model squad. Then this year it was reported that Taylor Swift was furious that Adele might be stepping into pop music in her new album. A source said, quote, Taylor Swift is not happy that Adele is apparently taking a new direction for her next album because it means she could be stealing her pop princess crown. Apparently Swift is giving no help to Adele with this potential crossover. The source added, quote, should this rivalry go public, it's going to get messy. It's probably best for Taylor to keep her copycat concerns to herself. And at number 4, Buddy Epson. Back in the days of old Hollywood, the makeup and prosthetics weren't what they are today, and oftentimes the costumes that the actors would wear would be toxic. One fact is that the Wicked Witch's green face in The Wizard of Oz was made with toxic paint. And Buddy Epson, who was supposed to play the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, did not do so because he had an extreme reaction to the aluminum dust from the makeup. Because of this reaction, he was replaced in the movie with actor Jack Haley. Epson was ultimately hospitalized and forced out of Oz's production. For years after the movie, Epson claimed that the makeup caused permanent breathing problems for the rest of his life.
And at number 3, attacks paparazzi with umbrella. One of Britney's worst moments in the press was in 2007 when she attacked a paparazzi with a green umbrella because she was so mad over all the attention she was getting. At this time, Britney was clearly going through a lot. She had just shaved her head in front of the public. It was all anyone was talking about. Britney was begging to be left alone and deal with her issues while not getting bombarded with paparazzi. But obviously that did not happen, and she was hounded more than ever. At the time, her paparazzi attack became so famous that a Florida morning radio host even used photos from her breakdown on his Total Nutjobs billboards. Months after the incident, she apologized in a bizarre statement, writing, quote, "I apologize to the pop for a stunt that was done 4 months ago regarding an umbrella. I was preparing my character for a role in a movie where the husband never plays his part, so they switched places accidentally. I take all my roles very seriously and got a little carried away. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part."
And at number 2, Rihanna's father had a second life. Rihanna has spoken in the past about her tense relationship with her father. Throughout her life, he was addicted to alcohol and cheated on her mother essentially their whole marriage. But one day a horrible secret was revealed, and apparently the entire time he was married, Rihanna's father had a second family. He had 3 other children as well, 2 daughters and a son. At one point, Rihanna was even forced to sue her father because he was selling services involving her name and likeness, although she later dropped that suit. And finally, number 1, hidden children. Being a movie star means that you need to be perfect 24/7. That includes hiding pregnancies from the public or trying to make them go away. Celebrities like Kylie Jenner kept her pregnancy totally a secret until after the birth to ensure the media did not affect her. However, there are tons of celebrities who completely hid secret love children from the public. Aerosmith's frontman Steven Tyler had a secret child well in his heyday, so he and the mother decided to hide the paternity from the child. When Liv Tyler was 8, she found out the truth, and so did the media. Apparently, she was forced to put the pieces of the puzzle together herself when she could no longer ignore the resemblance she had to the singer and his other kids.
Coming in at number 10, she's not the best actor. Madonna has completely dominated the music industry, but sadly that doesn't always translate to the silver screen. She's been in 19 films throughout the course of her career, but not all of them were shiners. Starring in the 1996 film adaptation of the musical Evita earned the singer a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. But on the flip side, she's also won 9 Razzies. Razzies are the infamous antithesis of the Oscars for worst performances, and she won the dubious honor of Worst Actress of the Century in 2000. Rough play if you ask me. She's also turned down some pretty famous roles, including as one of the leading girls in Showgirls. While she's likely best known for acting and singing, she's also directed 2 feature films. One was in 2007 called Filth and Wisdom, the other in 2011 called W.E. Neither of these movies received the warmest of receptions from critics or audiences, and it was pretty universally panned as far as movies go. And at number 9, she suffers from brontophobia. Madonna reportedly has a massive phobia called brontophobia. Brontophobia is a fear of thunder and lightning. When she sees a storm coming, reportedly she closes all the blinds on windows and puts on giant headphones to drown out the sound of the thunder. At the end of the day, despite being one of the biggest pop stars the world has ever known, she's still very much human, with her own flaws and fears like the rest of us. Next up on the list is she dated John F. Kennedy Jr. While we all know of Madonna's infamous relationship over the years to people like Sean Penn, Vanilla Ice, Dennis Rodman, Lenny Kravitz, and Tupac, Madonna also dated the former president's son. Her disastrous marriage to Sean Penn is well recorded, and it's an open secret that it blew up due to accusations of infidelity, general chaos, and physical harm towards one another. Sean became known for his unpredictable outbursts and temper tantrums with a major jealous streak. He would often fly off the rails when he saw another man getting close to Madonna. That being said, following her messy divorce from Sean Penn, Madonna briefly dated John F. Kennedy Jr. for 6 months. In a memoir penned about the president's son that spends a bit of time delving into his romantic past, he's been linked to other celebrities like Darlie Hannah and Sarah Jessica Parker. But one of the least documented relationships he's been in was surprisingly with Madonna. Madonna was far from a big hit with the Kennedy family, with the pop star heavily leaning into the Marilyn Monroe imagery, can't imagine Jackie Kennedy being a big fan of that one, and the general disapproval of her religious iconography for fashion purposes. But the brief relationship absolutely did not last long, mostly because despite Madonna's recent past with Sean Penn, she actually found Kennedy to be much more frightening. Quote, whereas Sean would act out, perhaps give a photographer a body shot just to vent,
Somehow, John's way seemed more personal. Madonna said that he would get up in her face, maybe an inch away, and scream at her at the top of his lungs when they were in a fight. I'm glad she left when she did.
And at number 7, Selena Gomez feud. Demi Lovato has made tons of shady digs about Selena Gomez. The pair started as friends, acting on Barney and Friends as kids. Their friendship continued into their teen years when they both became Disney stars. But things started to become tense when Selena got other friends and Demi felt left behind. When asked how Selena was in 2010, Demi replied, quote, "Ask Taylor Swift." Yikes, jealous much? Eventually the pair mended their feud, and Demi admitted that Selena was one of the only people to contact them after their OD. But problems came once again when Demi unfollowed Selena, and it was clear the tension was brewing once again. Then in May of 2020, Demi exposed that the two don't keep in touch at all, which was a huge shock because Selena had just publicly supported Demi on Instagram. All in all, Demi looks like the bad guy in this debacle, and public opinion is firmly on the side of Selena Gomez, because it seems Selena has always tried to mend their issues, while Demi just wants to keep feuding.
Coming in at number 6, she kissed Drake at Coachella and it was so awkward. Okay, this one definitely isn't a secret considering how extensive the media coverage was, but I'm struggling here, so give me a break. At Coachella in 2015, Madonna appeared during a Drake performance where she danced around him while he was sitting in a chair. Then she went right up to him and basically stuck her tongue down his throat on stage for all to see. The shocked look on Drake's face afterwards definitely wasn't pleasant, and the non-consensuality of it all was definitely an extremely hot topic.
Halfway number 5, offensive joke. During the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Demi made an offensive joke about the Zika virus that showed their true colors. After Demi and their mom were interviewed, Demi decided to post a clip from this interview on Snapchat. But this was a big mistake. In the story you can see Demi laughing at a joke their mom made about Zika. In this clip, their mom said that everyone is going to come back with the Zika virus, and Demi looked at her and laughed at the insensitive joke. People started flooding Twitter, tweeting that the joke was offensive and wrong, and upset that Demi laughed. Demi brushed off the criticism and did not address it. Many fans found this hypocritical, because Demi can rarely take a joke when it's said about them, and has attacked many celebrities for shady comments in the past.
Coming in at number 4, she didn't actually move to New York City with only $35. Okay, so this one may be a bit disputed, but there may not be tons of truth to the infamous up-and-coming Madonna story. The legend is that Madonna left her small rural town where she lived with her 5 other siblings and traveled to one of the most expensive cities in the world, New York. Apparently, she also only had $35 in her pocket and used that money to claw her way up to fame. It is a true rags to riches story about using pure willpower and drive to become one of the greatest stars of all time. But it may not even be true. In fact, Madonna's own brother disputes this story. He stated that, in fact, she had a few $100s in her pocket given to her by family to help her start out, and she had some connections and contracts underway to immediately start as a backup dancer once she landed in the city. While it's still an extremely impressive feat to go from pure normalcy with little money to just how big Madonna is, the story of her only having $35 may be a case of broken telephone, and people deliberately stretching the truth to make it seem even more impossible than it already was.
And at number 3, lied about sobriety. Demi is very open about their struggle with sobriety, and they've had a few relapses in the past. In Demi's 2017 documentary, Demi Lovato Simply Complicated, Demi admitted that while they were promoting the Stay Strong campaign about sobriety in 2012, they were actually still using illicit substances, so they completely lied to their fans. In the documentary, Demi says, quote, "I wasn't working my program, I wasn't ready to get sober. I was sneaking things on planes, I was sneaking it in bathrooms, sneaking it throughout the night. I went on a bender of like 2 months where I was using daily." After one particularly rough night, Demi wound up in the hospital for mixing too much. Demi was placed in a psych ward and forced to get sober. They say that night they came close to losing their life.
Coming in at number 2, Madonna and Prince wanted to make a musical together. In a 1989 interview with Madonna, she was asked who her musical aspirations are, and she named Prince as a vocalist that she admired. She then discussed her collaboration called Love Song. Quote, "We've been friends for years and admire each other's work, so we'd always talked about getting together to write. And in fact, there was a moment last year where we were possibly going to write a musical together. I went to a studio in Minnesota and worked on some stuff just to get a feel of what it would be like to collaborate." She then stated that her and Prince had a lot of difficulty creating a completed track. After she worked with him consistently for a few days, she left the studio. she no longer had any interest in writing a musical with him. Then, a while later, Prince approached Madonna with a demo that she enjoyed, but they ended up having to write the full track together long distance because Prince lived in Minneapolis and Madonna hated Minneapolis. The track, Love Song, did not chart the Billboard Hot 100. And finally at number 1, Madonna regrets posing naked for her book. While this article was posted quite a few years ago when Madonna was 49 years old, and she's 63 now, Madonna has stated that she seriously regrets posing naked so often in her youth. In her 1992 book, Sex, she believes that the reception of it was less about the beauty of the female form and expressing sexuality, and more so about how people branded her as an exhibitionist. She admitted that, at one point, she was much less adventurous, branding herself as prude. Quote, "I really was not getting up to much. I don't think I was as naughty as I could have been. I was quite straight. I was a geek when I was young. I did not really do much that was interesting." I think from what I got from this interview, it was less about the actual posing naked that she regrets, but more so about the public's reception about the book. It branded her as loose rather than expressing beauty through art.
In at number 10, holiday stint in treatment. On January 10th of this year, it was reported that Demi was home after a stint in rehab for the holidays. Demi has struggled with substance issues for years, and after being declared sober for the last few years, Demi decided to go back to treatment over the holidays. A source said Demi, quote, "completed a rehab stint in Utah recently and is now back in Los Angeles." Adding, quote, "they wanted to get back on track and recently swore off being California sober. Demi's friends and family were there to support them during their time in rehab." Apparently, Lovato wanted to start the year off in a good path, and going back to rehab helped a lot with this. Demi has also made lifestyle changes now that they are back. The insider added, quote, "Demi will have a sober living companion with them during this transition. It was their decision to go back to rehab." Demi has not addressed these reports, but they have wiped their Instagram feed. And at number 9, not California sober anymore. After their OD in 2018, Demi has struggled with maintaining sobriety. After the OD, they claimed that they were California sober, which is when a person does no substances other than the green one that you smoke. I can't say it on YouTube. Demi posted to Instagram on December 2nd, admitting they were not fully sober and they needed to be 100% clean. Writing, quote, "I no longer support my California sober ways. Sober is the only way to be." After reflecting on her different take towards different substances, they knew they needed to make a big change, and now it's all or nothing. These comments came shortly after Lala Kent slammed Lovato for the California sober term. Lala claimed that the term was super offensive and minimized how hard it is to be actually sober. Lala claimed that if you are doing any substance, you are not sober. Clearly, Demi resonated with these words. And at number 8, Demi was the bully, not the victim. Demi Lovato has been open about being bullied when they were younger. However, a lot of people from that school claimed that Demi was lying, and in reality, they were actually the ones bullying other students. On Reddit, people were asked to list the celebrities who attended their high school, and some were pointing out how Lovato was the real bully at their school. Apparently, Demi was a part of the cool clique that would tease other people, and since Demi was a TV star by that point, it makes sense that people would want to be friends with them. Those accounts depicted the total opposite of what Demi has been saying for years. And not only were the students speaking up against Demi, but the teachers did too. They agreed that the singer was rude in school. Clearly, Demi has been telling a lot of lies about their past.
And at number 7, a bug was named after her. Listen, I know this one's out there and it's really not even a secret or something you try to hide. I just thought it was fun, so I'm putting it in. I wish the video was titled Top 10 Madonna Facts because this lady is interesting, alright? Sue me. But anyways, in 2006, scientists named a species of microscopic water-dwelling organisms, which is most commonly known as the water bear, after Madonna. The water bear's scientific name is, and bear with me, get it? Echinyscus madonnae. Don't quote me on that. It's also called a tardigrade, which is much easier. Although I'm sure it's because the researchers just loved Madonna's music, naming a bug after her is quite fitting, and I'd be proud to share a name with the water bear because it's basically invincible. Living for upwards of 120 years without food or water while withstanding harsh environmental conditions, these bugs are absolute tanks. For someone as resilient as Madonna, I'm sure she has some pride for her little bug, as both of them have managed to remain strong and consistent throughout their lives. Although it is weird that a water bug born on the same day as Madonna will outlive her by quite a few decades.
And at number 6, hit backup dancer. One of the shadiest things that Demi has ever done was hitting one of their backup dancers in the face. This took place in November of 2010 while Demi was on tour with the Jonas Brothers. Demi was only 18 at the time and was acting pretty badly during the whole tour. Typical teenage behavior for the most part. But things turned really nasty when they got in trouble with the tour managers for a certain issue, and Demi demanded to know who ratted them out to the managers. After Demi figured out who snitched, Demi did the unthinkable and hit the dancer Alex Welch in the face. Welch initially complained that Lovato never apologized to her after this incident, but Demi's rep said this was because Demi was sent straight to rehab after the incident. In late December of 2010, people reported that Welch and Lovato reached a settlement for an undisclosed sum, part of which was donated to charity.
Coming in at number 5, Madonna reminded Beyonce and Jay-Z that she is the master. Again, also not a secret because people ran with it, but Madonna has posted a Photoshop picture of Jay-Z and Beyonce gazing at photos of Madonna's album. She captioned it, quote, "learning from the master." People were pissed that a white woman used the term master to show her superiority over two black individuals. In response, Madonna didn't delete the post, but she did edit the word master out of it so it just said learning instead. I guess that works too.
In at number 4, body positivity hypocrite. One of the main movements that Demi supports is body positivity, so it's hard to see that in the past Demi has supported things that go against this movement. One interesting thing to note is that Demi is close with the Kardashian family, who are obviously very harmful to the body positivity movement, as they promote diet culture and harmful body modifications. This is strange considering Demi has blasted Taylor Swift for her girl squad full of models in the past because Demi did not believe that Taylor's squad was inclusive. Even worse, in 2017, Demi promoted one of the many detox teas on the market, which we know are incredibly damaging products that are generally touted as weight loss products.
Coming in at number 3, Madonna doesn't like being a material girl. One little known fact about Madonna is that she has remarked that she regrets ever recording the track that would become her moniker, Material Girl. It is one of her most famous songs and became the nickname that she is most often represented by. Similarly, she also doesn't feel like she wants to be associated with a song like a Virgin either. Quote, "I like them both because they were iconic and provocative at the time, but also they're so unlike me. I am not a materialistic person, and I certainly wasn't a virgin. And, by the way, how can you be like a virgin? I like the play on words. I thought they were clever. They're so geeky, they're cool." She also said that she never expected Material Girl to become as big of a hit as it was. Quote, "I've never been a good judge of what things are going to be huge or not. I'm resourceful, and if I ended up in a log cabin in the middle of the forest, that would work too. These things are not mandatory for my happiness. That's what I meant by I'm not a materialistic person."
And at number 2, arrogant attitude. Many of Demi's former classmates have come forward and exposed that they thought they were better than everyone else while growing up. Since Demi started in Hollywood at a young age, acting in Barney and Friends when they were only 10 years old, they clearly thought they were above their classmates. But obviously that's never a good attitude to have. Former classmates have come out and said how Lovato would look down on them because they had been on TV. This is far from the way that Demi is portrayed. Demi claims that they were teased when they were younger and had a humble upbringing, but clearly that's not true. And finally at number 1, physical fights. Not only was Demi a bully in school, apparently it was not just with words, and Demi would get physical when they were angry. A Tumblr user once spoke and said that she was bullied by the Skyscraper singer in school. Apparently, this girl became friends with a popular group of girls at school, and Demi did not like this, and Demi decided to attack this girl for no reason. It started with name calling and nasty comments, but then turned into physical harm. The girl claimed that one time Demi pulled her hair and smeared makeup all over her face. The girl claimed this was the worst day of her life. It's crazy considering Demi is a voice against bullying and has been a part of many anti-bullying campaigns in the past. But since this story lines up with so many other stories about Demi, it's hard not to believe it.